What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the LG Reflect. So let's get started. So this is the LG Reflect. I bought this at Walmart for $149, and the phone is being offered at a variety of different TracFone carriers. Now this is the Straight Talk Wireless variant of the phone. And another thing I wanted to mention as well is that this device is very similar to the LG K51. In fact, it's essentially a rebranded K51. So I have done a lot of content already on my channel about that phone, and this one is pretty similar. So I did want to point that out there in case it confuses anybody. Now, with the LG Reflect, we're getting a very large display at 6.5 inches. The display itself is LCD at 720p. We're getting a PPI of 264 and a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio. So a very narrow but tall form factor here with the phone, but that's really awesome in my opinion because that allows you to fit more of your social media feed or a web page into one frame. Now also, this is really good for watching video content because you can crop in and you get a way more immersive video viewing experience. Now with this device, we do have a water drop notch at the top, and in that notch is a 13 megapixel front-facing camera. Now the LG Reflect comes with 32 gigabytes of internal storage, and this phone is also compatible with microSD card expansion. Now there is no wireless charging with the LG Reflect, but we do have a fingerprint sensor on the back. So let's give that a try right now. So a decently fast fingerprint sensor here with the phone. Overall, no complaints about it. Now there is no face unlock with this device, so if you do want security on here, then you are limited to using the fingerprint sensor or a PIN code. Now also on the back of the phone, we have a triple camera setup. So we're getting a 13 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. In addition to that, we are getting portrait mode with both the rear and front cameras on the phone, which is really awesome because that is a feature that I personally use quite often. Here's how things look with the main camera on the device. Things seem to be pretty clear overall, so no complaints. Then switching over to the ultra wide angle camera, you can fit a lot more content into the frame here. You can see that you're able to view a lot more things, which is great. Now switching over to portrait mode, that will blur out the backgrounds once it is able to focus in on a subject. And then flipping over to the front camera, we also have portrait mode here as well. You can see the background is very blurred. I do have the ability to toggle that as well. And then we can switch over to the standard front-facing photo mode too. So in general, I'm excited to use these cameras a bit more. Now, if the cameras are very similar to the cameras on the LG K51, then the results should be pretty decent. So I'm certainly very optimistic. Now with the LG Reflect, we're getting 3 gigabytes of RAM in the MediaTek Helio P22. Now LG's been putting the MediaTek Helio P22 in a lot of their various budget smartphones this year. For example, in addition to the Reflect and the K51 having that processor, you can also get that processor with the LG Premier Pro Plus, another phone that I've been featuring here on the channel. But overall, I've been pretty pleased with the performance. Let's pull up the benchmark score right now. And you can see I got an overall score of 83170. So not an amazing score, especially compared to a $1,000 flagship, but for a device at this price, this is certainly acceptable. So that's good. I'm also glad that we are getting 3 gigabytes of RAM. That does make a bit of a difference. So good job, LG, with that. Now with the LG Reflect, we're getting 1080p video recording. We're getting a very large 4,000 milliamp hour internal battery. And according to LG, with that battery, we're able to get 18 hours of talk time and 20 hours of standby time. So that's certainly a lot better than the LG Premier Pro Plus, for example. And by the way, I will be comparing this phone to that phone, so make sure to sub to the channel so you don't miss out on that content. Now with the LG Reflect, we are getting Android 9 Pie, and that's kind of a disappointment. I would have really hoped that we would have gotten Android 10 with this phone. Now I have no idea if, when, or ever we will get the Android 10 update, but I'm skeptical that it'll happen anytime soon, that's for sure. Now the good news though is that we're still getting all the core features that we all know and love with Android. with Pi. So you're going to be able to do pretty much all the same tasks as you'd be able to do with Android 10 anyway. But of course, it never hurts to have newer software on the phone. But I also don't consider it to be a deal breaker. Now let's take a closer look at the hardware of the device. I already talked quite a bit about the front panel here, but we are getting a pretty thick bottom bezel in addition to a water drop notch at the top. So I wouldn't say that this phone necessarily has small bezels, but overall I think it looks decently nice. And again, for a phone in this price range, I am willing to cut it some slack. Now taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have the volume up, volume down buttons. We also have the Google Assistant button. Then on the right side, we have the power button and the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Then on the top of the phone, we have the noise canceling microphone. Then on the bottom of the phone, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the speaker. And then on the back of the device, we have that triple camera setup, fingerprint sensor, a few logos, and overall, that's about it. Now we do have a reflective finish here on the back of the device, and it certainly is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, unfortunately. But in general, I think it's a nice looking handset, and I'll tell you what, phones at $150 have come a long way in a relatively short period of time. So I'm very excited about this phone, and I certainly think this will be a good option for many people out there. Now, before I jump into any final conclusions about it, I will of course have to use this for a bit before I create my full review video. But so far, so good. Now, as I showed you earlier, this is the box that the phone does come in. Let's now go over everything that comes included. I also wanted to mention that this box does feature that cool flap on the front, so you're able to see the various plans available, and then typically you'd be able to see the phone itself here in the window. But of course, I removed the phone. So in the box, we're getting some literature, basically some advertisements from Straight Talk, showing off their various services and other ways that you can spend money with them. We're also getting a service guide here. We're getting a SIM card removal tool, which is very important. We're getting a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. We're getting a USB wall adapter with LG branding on it. We're getting a Straight Talk Wireless terms and conditions booklet. And then finally, we're getting an LG Reflect quick start guide. So we're getting everything in the box that you would need to get started. So in general, I'm liking the LG Reflect quite a bit so far. I think it's going to be a good budget option if you're looking to get a smartphone that gets the job done, but at the same time is not too expensive. Now, of course, if you do spend a lot more money on a phone, then most likely you will be able to do things a lot quicker and have a way better experience overall. But if you are someone that uses their phone for mid to light social media tasks, browsing the web every now and then, and doing text messages and phone calls, which is pretty much the majority of the population out there, then I feel like the LG Reflect will be a good choice for you. But I hope you enjoyed this video about the LG Reflect. This is my hands-on and first impressions video about the phone. Stay tuned for my full review video. Make sure to sub to the channel, like the video, and mention in the comments below any other requests that you might have. But my name is Kevin, and I'll see you in the next one.